All right, let's talk about a metal we all think we know, silver. For thousands of years, it's been about jewelry, coins, maybe some fancy silverware. But here's the thing. That story is over. In the 21st century, silver's entire identity has been completely rewritten. So forget about treasure chests. We're going to show you how this ancient metal is now, literally, the backbone of our future.
And believe me, this transformation is anything but subtle. Just look at India. In only 2 years, the price of silver there has skyrocketed by almost 400%. It's hitting all-time highs. Now that's not just a market fluctuation, folks. That is a seismic shift, a huge signal that something fundamental has changed.
So that gets us to the big question, right? Why is this ancient metal suddenly so incredibly valuable? I'll give you a hint. It's not because of investors, and it's not a sudden craze for jewelry. Nope. Something much, much bigger is happening here, and it's reshaping the entire global market from the ground up.
Well, the answer isn't buried in some financial report. It's all about technology. Specifically, there's a new tech trinity that is fueling India's biggest ambitions for the next few decades.
And what are they? We're looking at three huge, unstoppable forces. First, a massive push into solar energy. Second, a super-fast transition to electric vehicles. And third, the nationwide rollout of 5G and AI infrastructure. And guess what? Every single one of these sectors is incredibly hungry for one specific, indispensable material: silver.
Let's start with the sun, with solar. You see, India has this massive national goal, 280 gigawatts of solar capacity. And to get there, every single solar panel relies on silver paste to conduct electricity. It's the silent, absolutely essential ingredient for turning sunlight into power.
But here's where it gets kind of weird, a real paradox. You'd think as technology gets better, we'd use less of a precious resource, right? Well, with solar, the exact opposite is happening. To get higher efficiency, India is adopting these new technologies like TOPCon and HGAT, which actually need more silver per panel, not less.
And you know what? We're seeing the exact same story play out in the auto industry. A regular old gasoline car has about 25 grams of silver in it. An electric vehicle, it needs double that, around 50 grams, for its battery, its braking system, all of its advanced electronics. And with EV sales in India jumping 50% year after year, that demand adds up really, really fast.
And that brings us to silver's third and maybe most invisible role. It's the invisible glue holding our digital world together. Its conductivity is just unmatched, making it absolutely critical for the semiconductors that power our 5G networks, our smartphones, and the huge data centers we need for AI. It's literally the physical foundation for our digital ambitions.
Okay, so you've got this insane explosion in demand on one side. But, and this is a big but, there's a huge problem on the other side. While demand is just blasting off, the global supply is struggling to keep up. The world, it turns out, has a major silver problem.
And look, this isn't something that just popped up overnight. We are now in the 5th straight year of what they call a structural supply deficit. For half a decade, the world has been using more silver than all the mines on Earth can pull out of the ground.
And if you look at the forecasts, things are only going to get more intense. Demand from solar, electronics, and EVs is just set to keep growing like crazy, needing tens of millions more ounces of silver every single year. Here's the problem in a nutshell. Think about it like this. Mine supply is just kind of crawling along, growing at a sluggish 1.24% a year. But demand, it's sprinting ahead at nearly 3%. This gap between what we need and what we actually have is getting wider every single day.
All right, so let's bring this whole global mess right back home. What does a planetary supply shortage mean for a country like India, which has basically staked its entire future on these silver-dependent technologies? Well, it creates a really high-stakes situation that some are calling the silver squeeze.
And this is the kicker for India, the reason it's in such a tight spot. India imports a staggering 80% of all the silver it uses. That's a massive dependency that costs billions of dollars and puts the country's huge tech goals completely at the mercy of global markets. And you bet experts are sounding the alarm on this one. This silver squeeze could become a serious bottleneck, maybe even forcing Indian manufacturers to compromise on quality and switch to other materials like copper, which, let's be honest, just can't perform as well for these high-tech jobs.
So you can see the massive headache this creates for the people in charge, right?
India's tech goals mean they have to import tons of silver. But those imports put a huge strain on the national budget. So the government might think about raising import taxes, but that just makes silver even more expensive, which could slow down the very tech revolution they're trying to start. It's a classic catch-22.
So, when you put all of this together, what does it really mean? It means silver's role in the world has been changed forever. It isn't just a precious metal anymore, it's a strategic one.
I mean, think about the huge shift here. For centuries, silver was a household asset, something you kept in a jewelry box. Now, it's a national strategic asset. It's moving from being about wealth to being about critical infrastructure, our energy grids, our transportation, our communication networks. You know, maybe the best way to really wrap your head around this is with a new label, the new rare earth. This term isn't really about how much of the stuff is in the ground. It's about how critical its supply chain is for a nation's technology and its security. And in this new era, silver fits that definition perfectly. And that just leaves us with this one kind of mind-blowing final thought. For centuries, silver was the metal that built and funded entire empires. Now, as it becomes the one thing you can't live without in our modern tech world, the question isn't about its shine anymore. It's about its strategic power. Will the control of silver help decide who builds the economic empires of tomorrow?